Excellent!
What's up guys, I've made my way over here to the Asus booth. I'm near the ROG area and I'm going to talk about the thing that you guys are probably most interested in here, and that is the new Asus Strix GTX 980. They have one up and running here. As you can probably see, they've gone with a 3-fan design for this one, which we haven't really seen from Asus recently. They've been going with mainly dual fan designs for their direct CU2 cards. But here we can see this pretty cool looking system that they have set up here. I believe that is a Maximus 7 formula, I think?
I think so.
I think that's right. Okay, so they have that set up with probably the coolest looking stock CPU cooler I've ever seen, but let's ignore that for now and let's talk about the Strix. The Strix is right there at the bottom. It's running. I can't hear much. It seems to be very quiet. It has a glowing Strix logo up on top, which looks kind of cool. A little bit light colored. A lot of these demo units that we're seeing here at Computex are pretty early revisions and samples, and a lot of folks have been telling us that they're still working on the designs and they might do slight modifications to them. I cannot say if that is the case or not for Asus. I'm guessing this one is at least near complete, mainly because there's some water blocks over on the other side that I want to show you. But apart from the 980 Ti GPU that's at the center, 200,816 CUDA cores, their information here for their boost clock and their turbo clock, their base clock and their boost clock is all TBD. So I'm guessing that's probably because they need to do some further validation and testing to see the GPU yields and what they can actually get to as far as a reasonable clock frequency for shipping the finished versions of the Asus Strix GTX 980. But they do have a cool demo right here. Also, Wendell's with me. Hi, Wendell. Okay.
How's it going?
So here's a quick demonstration that Asus put together for why their custom PCBs are awesome. So this is the generic PCB design, aka the NVIDIA reference design. This is a traditional assembly via dual inline package process. Right? If you watch any of our factory tours from like Gigabyte, you might recognize what that is. But you can see some of the sharp points here and the soldering that's going on as they're connecting up the connection points of the card. Whereas over here is the actual Asus design for the Strix GTX 980, and you'll notice, look how clean it is. It's super clean. How do they do that? Well, there's a video here. I'll chalk it up to aerospace grade quality and reliability via Asus Auto Extreme technology. It's an automated process, which I find to be somewhat interesting.
I think it's substitution of dip components with surface mount components.
Okay, so they're using surface mounted instead of dip, but that's kind of their demo there, and it does make it look nice and clean. Although I think they should put a backplate on it anyway, which means you won't even be able to see any of that stuff. Finally, they do have some water blocks here on demonstration. We have water blocks from Bits Power right here up at the top. They have a pretty nice, clean, clear design here where you can see the channels for the liquid to flow over and that kind of thing. Of course, you might recognize the Bits Power logo like they have here and over here. They do have a silver plate down the middle to, I don't know, hide the naughty bits or something like that. Maybe they need some additional cooling. Actually, I'm guessing that's for additional cooling over the power delivery. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We also have an EK block here. Also a very key partner for Asus, and there's just a quick look at that one. EK going with a similar clear design, I suppose, to the Bits Power, but nice and clean and squared off like a lot of EK blocks are. You can see the logo up there on the top, as well as the EK logo down there by the Strix logo at the bottom. Finally, we have a thermal take block as well. This one's a little bit more opaque, or I should say completely opaque compared to the other ones. White on top, black on the bottom. Again, looks like a pretty clean design, but they've opted to put the actual G quarter fitting connection points directly here on top of the card. So we should see some interesting configurations. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people doing multi-GPU configuration water-cooled systems with the Strix 980 Ti. But let's first look at it here at Computex 2015. Guys, I couldn't leave the Gigabyte booth without showing you their brand new GTX 980 Ti. It's right here. It is still going with a 3-fan cooler on there, but they've done some fancy stuff. First off, this is a 600 watt TDP cooler. Yes, 600 watts, which is more than any person in their right mind would need for a 980 Ti, but that's going to give you plenty of cooling, of course, as well as more thermal dissipation. I'm going to flip it over here so you can see the WindForce logo. Speaking of the WindForce logo right there, this can now change colors. Yes, indeed. 7 different colors. It's not full RGB yet, but that is something that they're working on. So you can light that up and change it to pretty much your standard colors that you might need to match your case design or whatever system you're building. The other cool thing is they have their fan stop mode. So these little LEDs on the side are going to light up white when the fan is stopped, which means that the GPU is not hot enough to cause them to spin up. Apart from that, if you saw any of my videos on their 980 and how heavy that thing is, this thing is equally heavy. There's a lot of copper used in here. There's a very dense fin array. They've gone with the alternating spacing for the fins to create more turbulence and more heat dissipation over those. There are 6 copper heat pipes across the center here. There's I believe there's 4 8mm and 2 6mm, so that's pretty cool too. For your outputs over here, Gigabyte is sticking with the Flex display, so they're giving you an extra DVI out, which I think is useful because a lot of folks are still using DVI monitors. If you have a 2560 by 1600 or something and you don't want to ditch it, or maybe even a couple, that would be very nice to have. But of course, you still got 3 full-size DisplayPort outs, as well as HDMI 1.4. I'm sorry, HDMI 2.0. That's 2.0 for the 900 series. And then on the bottom, of course, the beautiful Gigabyte G1 gaming backplate with the angular, aggressive look, still looking super sweet. And that's pretty much it. So that's Gigabyte's take on the 980 Ti. I really like it. I liked it so much I took it over here by the window so you could have a cool backdrop while you're looking at it. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this card, because there's a lot of custom 980 Ti's out right now. And I thought it was interesting that Gigabyte chose to go with kind of a more silver trim on the outside. Are you guys into that, or were you more into the black version? Let me know in the comments. Hey guys, I've come over to the Zotac booth, and apart from some new Z boxes that are over there, hanging out over kind of near where Logan is, they have a whole new slew of GTX 980 Ti's. Yes indeed, I'm going to run down all of them for you. First off, you have the lowest end, if you can call a 980 Ti low end. I don't think they would appreciate that, but I'm going to do that anyway. This is the 980 Ti Amp Edition, so it is factory overclocked, has Zotac's custom 3-fan cooler, and it also has a backplate. Look at that. It even says push the limit on it with the Zotac logo. That's pretty cool. So this one's going to use the reference PCB that NVIDIA made, but Zotac's custom cooler, and it does come factory overclocked out of the box at 1140 boost. So that's number one. We also have the Zotac GTX 980 Ti Amp Omega Edition. This one, as you might be able to tell, is a little bit beefier. Check that out. They have taken the wraparound black backplate that we saw with the 960, and they brought it over here to the 980 Ti. Look at that. Pretty nice. So kind of a gray backplate. Also says push the limit Zotac, and they got kind of a hex pattern going on in the back. Power boost, that's a big ass capacitor that's situated close to the GPU there. This one has a custom PCB that Zotac designed themselves, and they've used it in this card here, which also has a cool thing that they've done with the fans. So if you notice the fans in there, they have a very interesting design. They're kind of slotted, and they have a secondary fan blade in there. And Zotac has done this to make it look cooler. No, it's not just to make it look cooler, it's also to make it cooler. Ha ha ha. Okay. But it greatly improves the static pressure, and it kills the dead zone for air pressure that typically exists with most traditional fan designs, or at least so I'm told by Zotac. So that's pretty sweet. And again, this is the 980 Ti Amp Omega Edition, but that's not all. Oh no, we have no fewer than two more to talk about here. This next one is actually down in the case, so check this bad boy out. So now you might notice this is a very similar as far as the heatsink design goes to the Amp Omega Edition up there, but this is actually the 980 Ti Amp Extreme Edition. It comes with LEDs, right? LEDs that light up. And this one is basically going to be their binned model that is overclocked far further than any of the other ones. This boost clock listed here, 1335, is actually not even correct. It's 1355 boost. And according to Zotac, the highest overclocked GTX 980 Ti out of the box that you can currently purchase. But that's not all. Over here, we have the 980 Ti Arctic Storm. This one is hybrid. So this one is shipped at 1114 boost, but that's with the air cooling that you might initially see right here in front of you. Again, similar design for the fans and all that, and the shroud with Zotac. I kind of like their kind of dark gray gunmetal look, but this one is freaking heavy. Oh my god, that is substantial. There's water cooling connectors there because this is a hybrid solution. You also notice there's a Zotac logo there that will light up. Power delivery for this one is a 6-pin and an 8-pin, and it's got a massive copper block right down there against. This thing is really heavy. This is probably the heaviest graphics card just out of the box I've ever picked up. I'm going to set it down. I don't want to drop it either. So if it's not already obvious, you can run this air-cooled, just use the fans as is, or you can pop on custom liquid cooling, connect it there with your G1/4 fittings, and you can set this up to be an epic water-cooled GTX 980 Ti. And you don't even have to worry about getting a separate water block and installing it and all that stuff. So there you have it, guys, a rundown of the GTX 980 Ti collection, all 4 of them from Zotac here at Computex 2015. So guys, as you probably know, Cooler Master is one of my fantastic sponsors for my Computex 2015 coverage, and I asked them to show me a couple cool products that they have here on display. So we're going to take a closer look at the Quickfire XTi. So guys, you might remember the Quickfire Rapid Eye. I did a video on that recently. The Quickfire XTi, the version that's actually here has Cherry MX green switches. This is going to be available in the US with blues, browns, and reds, which are very popular. But in the comments, let me know if you guys want to see the greens, because they're considering bringing the greens to the US market, but that's still undecided. So if you saw my video on the Quickfire Rapid Eye, then this board should be very familiar to you, except now we have some multicolored backlights. So we actually have 2 LEDs There's blue and red, so you can do blue, red, and you can do the colors in between, such as purples and different shades of magenta and that sort of thing. And Rajiv's right here next to me. He's going to show us some of the quick features for lighting and that sort of thing. So you got the perky lighting, lights up and then fades away. You have a little explosion lighting you can do, where it goes from side to side. And then you also have vertical, so it's doing the axes from the horizontally and vertically as you type. That's pretty cool too. And then we also have just straight colors, of course. There's program buttons up here. There's a bunch of different macros you can do. And just like the Quickfire Rapid Eye, it stores everything in the keyboard itself, so you can take it with you and it will remember all of your settings. So guys, this is going to be available soon. August time frame. You'll be able to see the Quickfire XTI. Again, it's available in reds, browns, and blue switches, and maybe greens too, depending on if you guys want it. Guys, if you don't already know, G.Skill is one of my proud sponsors for my Computex 2015 coverage, and when I asked them, hey, G.Skill, what do you have going on that's cool at Computex this year? Well, they said, of course, our OC World Record Stage and our OC World Cup. Every year, G.Skill hosts this event, actually two separate events. They do overclocking, extreme high-level liquid nitrogen-based overclocking all week, and then they do competitions to see who can overclock the most and the best. Right now, the OC World Record Stage, the OC World Cup 2015 is down to the final. We're like less than 2.5 minutes away. The winner of this is going to get $10,000. Right now, it's down to two competitors, Lau Kin Lam from Hong Kong, as well as Vivi from South Africa. Right now, Lau Kin Lam is ahead by a single point. He is winning 2 of the 3 categories, whereas Vivi has a win in 1. We'll see if it comes down to the wire and there's a last-minute upset. I can't even say it anymore. I'm just gonna cut. I'm gonna cut to the end. We'll see who wins.
3, 2, 1.
And there it is, guys. Final scores. Overall, Lau Kin Lam wins with an overall score of 5 points. He got 1 point for his DDR4 memory clock speed of 1845.5. Vivi did beat him there with a memory overclock of 1,918. Lau Kin Lam won the Super 532M with a final score of 5 minutes, 57 seconds, and 766 milliseconds, beating out Vivi by bare milliseconds, like literally a tenth or a few hundredths of a millisecond. He also had a 3D Mark Firestrike physics score of 24,824 compared to Vivi's score of 24,615.